So Watson, I know you're on with us. Before you came on, I made this deal about I had a clear, I had an epiphany yesterday, and the epiphany is this is a 7-10 football team. They are good enough from time to time to have some really good things happen. But if you think it's going to happen every week, we're kidding ourselves. This is not a playoff team. It's not even a 500 team. It's a 7-10 kind of football team.
I won't go as far as you. I'm going to say it's somewhere in between that. The whole deal to me. And yesterday, they could have won that game as easy as they didn't. They didn't win it. The difference being you got to score touchdowns instead of field goals, and 2 times they get down there. And I'm not sure that it was just a little bit unlucky. I mean, they got a screen called. Everybody's yelling and screaming. They're blocking downfield. Of course they are. It's a screen. Quarterback cannot throw the ball past the line of scrimmage. Quarterback coaches have taught that for a million years. If the screen's not there, throw it in the ground, but don't throw it across the line of scrimmage. And he had pressure on him, but he threw it too far. Killer play. And then this next time they get down there, they should have scored, is they've got 4th and 2, 1.5, and they run this fake speed sweep and then run the stretch play with Derek. The stretch play with Derek in the side saddle. He's running sideways. And I just don't think that's a great call. Derek is a downhill. They were in a 6-1 defense. I don't want to get technical, George. They were in a 6-1 defense. And when you're in a 6-1 and pinching and you run the stretch play, the center, the guard, the tackle have to reach the guy on the guard, the guy on the tackle, and the tackle ends up on the middle linebacker. That's the way you have to block the stretch play. And they weren't able to do that. The middle linebacker meets Derek right in the hole. And the tackle falls off late on it, but the middle linebacker's with Derek, but Derek's going sideways. If Derek's coming straight downfield, I don't think the middle linebacker stops him for a yard and a half. So that's the two plays, and then they got unlucky that Anthony Richardson got hurt, because I'm telling you, Anthony as a freshman, as a new quarterback in the NFL, would have made all those plays. Gardner Minshew makes play after play after play, critical third down throws that weren't easy throws with people in his face. And so I think they just kind of a little bit unlucky. I thought they played well. The defense, for some reason, couldn't stop the run. When they win, if Mike's going to get it worked out, if they're going to win, the defensive line has to dominate and the offensive line has to be able to run the ball. If they dominate with the defensive line, they win on defense, because it covers that secondary that is middle of the pack at best. And if they run the ball well, it opens up play action pass after play action pass. And that's their passing game. That is their passing game. They're not capable of being drop backs. So that's it. It's all in the lines. And just watch it the rest of the season. You're probably right. I'm a little bit more, you know me, I'm a little bit more hesitant. I'm saying anywhere from 10-7 to 7-10. I still don't think the division is great. I don't think the Colts will be, with quarterback issues. I just don't. I think Minshew's going to play great, but I just don't think you can do it with a young quarterback. Supposedly he'll be back in 3 weeks. I'm still not sold on the Jags. I think they're a little bit like us. They're a little bit like the Titans, and I don't think the Texans, even though they're playing, they're coaching, they're doing great. But I don't know if they're good enough to do it either. So I still think the division's totally up for grabs. We didn't play a bad game yesterday in our mentality, except the run like it was. Do you think T.R. Tart is important? Holy cow. That guy that took his place, they kept running the ball right there. Now, is there calls you make or something to help out with that? I don't know. But the backup nose is not T.R. Tart, and it made a big difference in that game. The pass rush was not bad. Minshew was just unbelievable. at getting rid of the ball with people in his face. I thought it was a kiss of death for the Titans that they hurt the starter.
He may well be the best backup quote backup quarterback in football. He's better than some starters around the league, but just has not found a place that will say,
No,
"Okay, Garner Minshew, it is yours. You are it." So let me ask both of you this: if I had told both of you before the game, Tart will not play, did you think it would be that damaging?
no. I'll start. Absolutely not. He comes out of games, and there's this guy and some other people play for him some, but yesterday that was it. I hope that was it. I hope that was it, because that's really been the first team that's just absolutely said, we're coming at you. And of course, you keep coming to somebody when you can run it like that. And I promise you, Kelly will say the same thing. Very seldom in the whole game were the Colts in third and long. It was always 3rd and 3, 3rd and 4, 3rd and 5. And then when they cross the 50, it might as well be 2nd and 5, because they're going to go for it on 4th down, so they don't have to throw the ball. And so they'd get to 4th and 1 or 4th and 2 and then make it. And they beat us with our style of play yesterday. I think that's what's hurting Vrabel so much, is he got beat with his style.
Kelly?
He really did. I was that was the most disappointing thing yesterday, but it just shows you how Tierra Tart is so important to that defensive line. Good gracious! I mean, the last two. I think it's the last 2 years that the Titans have been up at the top, if not tops, in run defense. I mean, we always talk about their secondary, but the run game is what they've been really good at. And then they were only allowing 70 yards in the game, and I think Zach Moss had 160 himself. So you look at that, and when Coach just hit it. Like when you are 3rd and short, now it's hard to get 10 yards and 3 downs in the National Football League. It is, but when you're in 3rd and short all day long, man, that's tough for a defense to overcome. And then when you just line up and you just smash it, and you do what the Indianapolis Colts did yesterday to the Titans, that's very demoralizing to that team, and they just. I don't know, just couldn't stop him yesterday. That was a disappointing thing to me. Other than the offense, I mean, just couldn't stop them. They knew they were going to run, and they still couldn't stop them, George. And that's a very disheartening thing to a defense.
So, guys, let me ask you all this. Let's just say that my little vision here is pretty accurate and pretty clear, that this is way more likely a 7-10 football team than it is a 10-7. Although, Watson, I'll grant you there are ways it could be, because the division is not the strongest in the NFL. But if I'm right and it's headed towards 7-10, sometime in November, don't you have to start learning about Will Levis?
Oh, absolutely. I don't, if they're not in the run, when it reaches a point that they're out of the race, oh, absolutely. They'll go with him. I don't think there's any doubt about that. But I just don't think they're there just yet. Again, another big game this week. They've had a lot of success against the Ravens, and we'll see what they do here. But that game was a lot closer than it looked, even though they gave up all those yards. Guys, this is why I don't give up yet on that run defense. 20 games in a row, nobody had rushed for 100 yards on this team. 20 games in the NFL in a row. And then all of a sudden, we got a guy out. I don't think Landry is near the player he was before his injury. I don't think he's anywhere close to what he was. Key has given us a big boost in there. And I'm still concerned. I think the defensive line will come back. Pierre's not hurt bad. He'll be back. I think they'll come back, and I think they'll get upset and come back. I'm still worried, George, Kelly, about the offensive line. I just don't know if we're good enough. I know we're not good enough to drop back pass and go win a game. Can't just we might win one here or there, but we can't rely on that every week to drop back and throw it and win a game. But we got to be good enough to run the ball. We've got to be. And maybe with Petit gets back and we get Dillard out of there, because I still think he's what, a $29 million for a guy that's a backup, been a backup his whole career. And I'd like to say one more thing that's just eating at me. For God's sakes, can some team in the NFL teach their offensive linemen not to hold? And can somebody in the NFL teach their secondary not to pass interfere on balls overthrown by 10 yards? I mean, it drives me crazy. It killed us yesterday. Those pass interference calls may have been the difference in the game. And I saw for where Fulton said he didn't interfere, he held the guy. It was a double move. He reached out and had him around the neck. He held the guy. If you're going to, the way you play a double move, Kelly, you know this. You've heard it all your life. You got to get in front of the guy. Yeah. When he makes his first cut and goes, you got to get in front of him where you don't have to hold him. He runs into you.
Right.
But if you're on the side of him and then you reach out and grab him, make the throw and catch. Golly bum, it drives me crazy. So I'm not as far yet, George, maybe as you. I can dang sure understand your feelings. But I'm just hoping. I think the defensive line will be back. I'm not sure about the offensive line. That's still start of the year, guys. What do we say? Offensive line and secondary. What are we still dealing with right now, today? Offensive line and secondary.
Offensive line, Kelly, looks like it could get better.
Yes.
I don't see where the secondary is going to get better.
Well, yeah, I think the offensive line with those two guys, with Skoronski and the Petit Frere guy coming back, I think that'll certainly help. Everything that helps the secondary, and Coach knows this, is getting a pass rush on people. And
yes.
yeah, I mean, if you get a pass rush on people, which I think they got some guys, Arden Key is obviously, and Autry, they can rush the passer, and the Simmons kid, they can rush the passer. They've got to totally take that running game though, and that's, I think Coach brought it up. I mean, when you go that many games without allowing somebody to run for 100 yards, and then one guy goes out, I mean, that shows you just how important that guy is to that defense. And if you can make a team one-dimensional, which I used to hate playing the Steelers and the Baltimore Ravens when I played, because the Steelers for like 10 years in a row were the number one run defense in the league. They made you one-dimensional. And if you can do that, then you got a shot. But, that's how you fix the secondary. But he's right about that, man. It's not only in the NFL, it's in college too. Guys get everybody's playing all these man coverages now. They don't want to throw in some zones, and I know that there are zones, but they're putting in all these man coverages, and they're putting in all these mix and match things with the secondary, and then a guy gets matched up one-on-one. He gets matched up man-to-man, and then he's one-on-one, and he knows that the ball is coming. Well, instead of turning around, looking at the guy's eyes and turning his head, he goes crazy and just gets his anxiety and he just starts grabbing. And that's where everybody is. I mean, it happens at every level now because people are playing so much man defense. So they've got to fix that, and that just comes through practice, George.
Hey, Watson, I had one other vision.
What's that, bud?
If the Braves hit today like they did on Saturday, they'll be going home early as well.
They'll be going home early as well, George. Today is critical. They got to win today, and then I think all they got to do is go back and get one in Philly and come back home for that last one.
Oh, if they could get to Game 5, I'd be delirious.
Absolutely, because they'll have a good pitcher back by then too.
I'm just not sure
they'll have Strider back, but I don't either. Who are the pitchers today?
Zach Wheeler for Philly, an Atlanta kid who has shoved it down their throat every time he pitches against them. Max Fried, if the blister is not an issue, Max Fried will pitch great. Max Fried's a baller. I'm a huge Max Fried fan. I'm glad this got me worked up a little.
It should have you worked up. My gracious, that's the two best on both teams. So let's see who's got it today, babe.
I just sent you a picture of my seats on Saturday. Great seats, no hitting.
Why didn't you do that? Why didn't you do that?
Well, I
I'd
went.
like to see where
Oh,
you're sitting. I know you did.
I just sent it to you.
Oh, you did? Okay.
Yes.
Well, I'm on the phone. I can't
Well,
look at it.
I understand that. Doing two things at one time taxes
And I
you.
can't do two things at
No,
one time.
I know. Get your
You can say that all you want. It's true. I can't.
get
I
your
can't do two
AARP
things.
card. They'll help you with it.
Hey, coach,
No,
don't worry about
no.
don't worry about it. Hey, coach, don't worry about it because you're still in the opening though, so don't worry about it.
He is so bitter about that, Watson. He wants you removed. I'm not sure, but that he doesn't hate you.
No, I don't hate.
I don't know.
No, not at all. I mean,
don't
but
know what it is.
I'm in the Tennessee Sports Hall of Fame as well, George. I mean, can we just maybe put a little, maybe let me go on there just a little bit? I mean, I know I'm living under the shadow of Watson Brown. I get it. I
See
get
what I mean,
reminded of
Watson?
that. I get reminded of that every week by Tony Basilio. I understand that. I get it, but I just want to be in the opener. Wow.
There's so much
All
bitterness.
I'm working on Tony to do, Kelly, is just don't call me his daddy. Call me his brother.
I agree.
I don't want to be called his daddy, for God's sake. Tony ain't no just young buck himself now. So
No.
Oh, Lord have
Watson,
mercy. And yes, you are in the Hall of Fame. So can we get the intro fixed on that,
you know
guys?
what?
Thank you, Watson.
Fix the intro to where Kelly doesn't have a bad feeling.
Right.
I mean,
because
good gracious,
what's
George.
happening is he's holding it against you and
Oh,
me.
he is?
Oh, I think so.
Well,
I think
I'm not at all.
I'm trying,
George, I'm not at all.
I'm trying to take up for Kelly here.
No, I think he's
not at all.
I think he's jealous of your status.
I'm just going to say this: if it keeps happening, I'm not going to the bowling night with George. I'm not doing it.
Oh my God! Oh, this is
that's a hell of a
this
threat.
is
Right
really
there,
oh, this is serious. This is the first
a
time.
Hell of a threat, man.
This is the first time he's come.
I'm not
with
going.
this.
I'm not going. I'm going to leverage it.
Oh, I don't blame you, bud. Leverage every penny of it. See what you get out of it from the old boy.
It's a lot of pennies.
He needs to be leveraged.
Watson, you behave.
Well, I will. And Kelly, I hope your daughter, seriously, I hope your daughter's doing good and okay.
She's doing better, man. I appreciate it. Thank you very much, Coach.
Okay, buddy. Okay. Thanks, guys. Talk to you.